Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another episode of Channel Your Light, Own Your Intuitive. I have somebody's guides here, somebody's higher self. This is a really intense message that's coming through, and I tried to put it to the side, but Spirit keeps telling me no, it keeps coming because it needs to be delivered. I've decided I'm going to pull some cards with this. Just as confirmation or validation. So the messages that keep coming through is as follows. You will know if this is for you. This will be a storyline that you're either following on a main stage, I'm hearing, or something that you were a part of, or perhaps something you're observing, or maybe in your own personal life. Public humiliation is coming out in spades. And when I say in spades, it feels like someone is being publicly humiliated or feels like they are being publicly humiliated. And this is a really intense message, and I actually feel like the thread of this can be seen in a multitude of ways, but I want to dive into this for whoever this message is for on this channel. First card coming out is Darkness Falls. Within you lives the hidden, the things that want nothing more than to swallow you whole. So what I'm hearing is the darkness within I'm just looking at this. There's 3 eyes on the chest of the card, and it's card number 12. 12 is a significant number. Darkness is falling. This is so interesting because there is a mirror on the card. The image on this card is literally of mirror magic, which is actually something I just sat down and channeled and was editing. Somebody doing mirror magic on other people, or you misusing the gifts to negatively impact others in that aspect. It's like darkness is falling. All you can see is the dark in the mirror, the shadow with the 3 eyeballs literally falling. And I feel like the statement on the card, which is the essential meaning of it, I'm not going to look at the guidebook, I'm going to read these intuitively. It says, within you lives the hidden, the things that want nothing more than to swallow you whole. So on a personal stance, when we look in the mirror, the things we say to ourselves and the negativity and the doubt and the shame and the I can't and all those stories are literally in our faces right now. It's all the darkness that could swallow you whole, and it can swallow you whole because doubt, regret, shame, hate, jealousy, envy, greed, all of those things are indicators of lack, feeling like you don't have enough, feeling like you are not enough, without a shadow of a doubt is what I am hearing. Notice that it's without a shadow of doubt. Shadow and doubt. Doubt is a shadow aspect that we do not trust ourselves. Doubt is a shadow aspect that is often implanted by the devil energy. Side note, please like, share, and subscribe on this channel if you are liking some of the content. The reason I say that is I'm being reminded of the devil energy masterclass that's coming up, which is shocking, but highly relevant for most light workers, light bearers, illuminating. It shocked me. So please make sure you hit the notification bell if you're already subscribed. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. So this concept of the shadow and the mirror magic, this is a really interesting concept because here's the cards I'm getting. Queen of the Dead, fear not the rage of fire living within you, for it is the power of your fierceness waiting to taste you fully. All of these cards have black snakes on them. Every card that I'm pulling right now, they all have black snakes on them. Snakes are indicative of the healer, which is the 13th zodiac, that astrology sign that was omitted. Some people don't believe it should be in there anyways, but it's represented by the serpent as the healer. And all zodiac signs, all starseeds, all origins, we all have a light and a dark. We all have the light serpent that heals us, and we all have the dark serpent, which is the dark shadow. Queen of the Dead, fear not the rage of fire living within. For some of you, this is about speaking truth. This is about saying no more to the shadows of doubt, to the shadows of envy, to the shadows of I am not enough, to all those dark things. The fact that these cards all have black snakes on them is really indicative of the shadow aspect energy that is really up in our faces in the collective, People's shadows are amplified. You probably have noticed this. We have found, some of you may have found that your original shadow that has been lurking underneath the whole time, you're really noticing it now. Darkness falls. You're seeing this shadow so that you can have a rebirth, queen of the dead, right? Rise. There is no death. And in addition, there is death in the fact that there is rebirth and transformation in every moment. But if you do not allow that which is dying or no longer serves you or brings you shadows, if you do not allow that to die, how on earth are you going to allow the snake of light, the snake of healing, to wrap itself around you, to heal you? I'm being reminded of, that's so funny, a series on Netflix, and it's called Shamaran, I believe that's what it's called. Anyways, and I'm being reminded of that. It's like the rebirth of one state into another, the essence of snake energy. Think about Adam and Eve and the serpent, right? The serpent didn't have a leg to stand on, but just as the 13th zodiac astrology healer, everything has two sides to it. Everything can be used for good or negativity. It doesn't matter what it is, but I'm being shown very clearly there's mirror magic being done. This is two different messages. One, there is somebody doing mirror magic and attempting to negatively impact other people. That darkness is about to fall. That's the queen of the dead. It's somebody trying to bring that black serpent energy to others, bring illusion, bring chaos, create makyo for others. If you don't know what that is, that's a Japanese term for the illusions of the spiritual realms. It's just one view of looking at it, one way, one, I guess, explanation and perception, which is highly valuable. That darkness falls and the queen of the dead and fear not the rage of fire living within you. Sometimes we need this extreme fire of, I won't accept that anymore. We need anger to put up the boundary that was needed to begin with. Some of us need that. So the one story is, this is somebody who's intentionally black magic, dark energy, somebody who feels like they can manipulate and coerce to get what they want and create illusions. And it's all based in lack. It's all based in lack. That is going to fall. Whatever that is, whomever that's coming from, community group, I'm hearing a community group. And it's very well hidden. It is hidden, and that which was done in the dark shall be brought to the light, because the light illuminates the dark. You can't have dark without light, and you can't have light without dark, I guess you could say. Anyways, the second story of this is for those of you who have the shadow of a doubt, right? Those are all shadows within us, our doubt, our fears. It's shadow devil energy that says that we can't, that says that we shouldn't trust ourselves, that says we should listen to the person over there who gave us a harsh criticism that was not constructive, but rather intended to put a foot down on us. So it's that shadow aspect of the self. When we look in the mirror, we all have shadows and we all have light. We all have these different aspects of us within us, whether we have acknowledged it or not. Those who have integrated the shadow aspect of the self, those are the people who find that whole embodiment, becoming the strength, the groundedness, the divine connections. And it's not that anybody else does, but man, when you encounter somebody who's really embraced their shadow side, not to project it onto others, because I feel like the individual in the first subset where they're using that mirror magic, they're taking their shadows and their darkness and trying to mirror it and project it onto others, versus the individual who looks into the mirror and says, I see my shadow, and now I'm going to embrace it, to heal it, to integrate it, to understand it, and to utilize it, becoming my whole self once more. Those two things are happening on the earth plane. I feel like that's part of the duality. There are those who go without, and there are those who go within. So let's just pull another card here for this. Let me know in the comments if this is resonating, whether it's feeling like maybe you've been engaging with somebody who's got a lot of dense, dark energy and sensing it. I feel like that's really in the intuitive realms for somebody. You will intuitively know if that's being projected at you or you sense that. And then the other one is, all of us deal with, when we look in the mirror, do we love what we see or do we hate what we see? It's the shadows of doubt. They are shadows. It's a shadow aspect of us. And I wish to also say I'm seeing pearls. I'm not going to pull another card yet. I'm seeing pearls. And my daughter Ava is saying this, and Ashtar is communicating as well. Multiple instruments or multiple deities and entities can be used through a singular instrument for the purposes of healing, enlightenment, growth, and expansion. What they're saying is they're showing me the pearls. When one looks in the mirror and sees the shadow and turns its face away, it never gets to see the pearl or find the hidden diamond that is actually trying to be shown to it, because all they can focus on is turning their face away from the shadow of themselves. Whereas the pearl is always found, think about it, at the bottom of the ocean, sealed tight in that conch shell, in the clam. It's sealed tight in there, and it's sealed tight in the darkness, in all the scratchiness. And when one does that shadow aspect or that shadow work of healing and actually says, you know what, that this is something that I don't like about myself, you actually, when you face that, you get to open the door and find the diamond, because anytime there is a shadow, there is wisdom underneath the surface. There's wisdom there, but you never find the wisdom if you project it out at others. You find the wisdom when you take it within and you look within and you say, I'm going to look at the shadow aspect, because if there's a shadow, there's light. Because light casts shadows. Think about it. It's intrinsic in its nature. It's a duality. It's this and that. This and that are truths, says Ram Dass. Ashtar says, the beauty of the earth plane and coming into a wholeness and the idea of light is not to say that there is no darkness. Rather, it's utilizing the light that we are, the light within, the light of source, God, creator, spirit, that allows us to illuminate the shadows, to find the diamonds underneath. And while some of you are not here to do a lot of shadow work, there are others who are here who are doing tremendous shadow work. There is no right or wrong way to do it. It does not mean that one is more elevated than another because they've looked at all their shadows. Some people are here on this earth plane not to move through the shadow realms, but rather to shine light, which then casts shadows into the shadow realms because it's illuminating the shadow. I'm not sure why it's coming out like that, but I'm being told those are the pearls of wisdom at this time for whoever needed to hear this channel and who this is for. Go back to the public humiliation, says Ava. When we are publicly humiliated, sometimes it is warranted. So that which was hidden is coming into the light. That which was done in the dark is coming to the light again. I feel like that's Psalms or Matthew or something to that effect. Perhaps your name is Matthew. I'm not really sure the connection on that. Whoa. And the card that just flew out was the coming of darkness. When the light is dimming, this means that life is withering at the core. Are you ready? Here's what I'm hearing. Are you ready for your transformation? Because if you've been sitting in the dark and you feel like all the light has dimmed and you feel like you're withering at the core, something is dying, that's because there's a rebirth happening. What are the chances, you guys, that I keep getting this message and all these cards are have a similar feeling. They have a similar idea. The interesting thing about the coming of darkness, and the coming of darkness means the coming of light. Although this has multiple references, I'm being told many, says Ashtar. This is those who are facing a dark night of the soul. This is those who are viewing and witnessing some of the darkness that's coming out on the earth plane. It's as though it is a message for somebody who feels their light has been dimmed for so long. You're coming out of darkness. And we come out of darkness when we illuminate it with the light. And I'm also being told somebody here, you're like in the storm. You're in the middle of a storm. And it's almost like somebody's walking into your realm or different people are affecting your peace. But the truth is, you're going to find that no one can knock your peace when you decide it's your peace. It's good, the concept or idea of going outside of you, trying to say, if this is okay outside of me and that's okay outside of me, and this person has their shit together and this person does what I need them to do, then I can be at peace. And Spirit's like, no, it's the opposite. I feel like I've shared this on this channel before, in a previous channel, probably about a month ago, but it's almost like we are giving away our peace when we are actually trying to control things outside of us. That's when we're giving away our peace, because we just said, oh, I have to control that outside and then I can be at peace. In truth, it's the opposite. We just gave away our peace on an external level, thinking that somebody else controlled our peace. And that's a very powerful understanding to view it from or see it from, because it really highlights for us we only control our inner landscape. And sometimes it's through that experience of seeing, oh my gosh, I'm trying to control all these things outside of me, and then I can be at peace. And Spirit's like, no, you got to be at peace with yourself. And then you naturally have the energy of peace and the frequency of peace that you're exuding, which is actually more of a benefit to the people that you're trying to get under control. You don't need to control them. You need to control you, because then you're of a greater help to yourself. You get to maintain your balance. But in addition, then your frequency of peace is more helpful to the people around you, because it has a natural soothing frequency or ability. You do not need to give away your peace. You do not need to control others to find your peace. It's that whole concept or idea. I also wish to point out on this card what I'm seeing. It's saying, are you ready? When life is withering at the core, are you ready? Because it's like a rebirth on a massive scale. And sometimes rebirths come from the darkest stuff. So I don't know whether this person who's being publicly humiliated, I'm seeing two, the numbers two. There are two pieces to this story, or rather two different paths and two different stories. One, somebody is facing public humiliation and being accountable for their actions, which was done in the dark and which was hidden and was not in integrity with the collective consciousness. Then there's the second aspect of those who feel they are being publicly humiliated or ashamed of something or something they didn't know. I don't know what the aspect is. I don't really know how to place that. Spirit, what do you want to say about it? Oh, it's you coming out of the shadows. It's you being rebirthed from the darkness. It's almost like whenever whatever this is finally falls apart and is exposed, or you see it clearly in the dark, or you've struggled long enough to say, I've had enough. Like, are you ready for your rebirth? Are you ready for that? That's what really the message is saying. And Spirit is saying, you are ready when you are willing to co-create with the divine. You are ready when you're willing to listen to Spirit instead of to your ego, because Spirit sees the things you cannot. Spirit knows your higher self's plan. So when we're in our lower selves here and just, going about our business and trying to hang on, cling on is the word I'm getting, cling on to things that aren't for us, trying to make it into something that it's not, using our gifts to manipulate people, all that stuff. When that breaks down, yeah, there's a moment where we're like, oh my gosh, my ego just got hurt. I feel like that's a natural thing. Like, my ego just got hurt. And I'm hearing, but this too shall pass. Egos are meant to ease God's order, not edge God out, right? Bringing source, divine spirit in, not to shut the door on it and cling to this 3D version of distorted patriarchy is how that coming through. Let me tell you, distorted patriarchy. So this is I'm going to pull one last card for this, because somebody's really going through it right now. There's a lot of shadow aspects being illuminated. There's a lot of understanding your patterns or being frustrated with a pattern and feeling like you can't get out of it. Meanwhile, I'm seeing the mirror in front of you. Like, are you ready for that to die yet? Are you ready for that to die? So that you can be reborn, so that you can see the path, so that you can see your way out. Because Spirit is always standing there waiting with a hand out, a helping hand to say, here's your way out. Spirit is always saying, here you go, surrender. But it's up to us to listen to it, right? Because Spirit does not dominate. Spirit does not coerce. And when I'm talking about Spirit, I'm talking about divine source, God, Jesus, whatever you wish to label it as. That is not an energy of coercion. It is not an energy of manipulation. It is an energy of wisdom and allowance, of always having compassion until you are ready to come out of the patterning or the cycle, until you are ready to give your surrendering over to the divine. And that doesn't mean you surrendering your, Ashtar says, it does not mean you are surrendering your free will. It means you are surrendering your need to do it yourself and co-creating with the divine, because that is when you are at the most powerful. It's so fascinating that some of this was actually in the channel I just did. Last card, gather in power, come together in grace, because unity is rising and all will be embraced. So to me, that this is a beautiful card. It's called the Gathering card. There is a table, and strung up in the trees is, oh my gosh, there's an angel, there's a witch, there's a fairy, there's a pilgrim, there is like a Celtic god. It's like all races, cultures, and belief systems sitting at this table gathering. And again, it says, gather in power, come together in grace. Unity is rising and all will be embraced. What a powerful way to get 3 cards of what feels like death and darkness and struggle and dimming of light and all those things, only to discover what's the purpose of this. We are coming together in grace, gathering in that power, divine power. Unity is rising so that all will be embraced. Because if you deny a facet of something, we can never come to unity, because unity is witnessing it all. It doesn't mean we accept it all and say, oh, it's okay that that's happening. That's not what unity is. Do not confuse unity with conformity. Unity is about embracing all, seeing the grace in all, understanding that we can have compassion for ourselves in our struggles, in the darkness, in the places we projected at others, only to discover for ourselves that it was always about our inner self. There's that too. There's just so many pieces on here. I'm so grateful for Spirit, because I just feel like life is so much easier. Transformation is easier. Darkness is easier when we recognize that we get to use it. Like there's hidden stuff there that's for us, and that we can always make a different choice. Let's say I make a choice and it's darkness again. It's projecting at others. Guess what? When I wake up tomorrow, that's a new day, which means I get to make new choices. I get to see new things, and Spirit will never, ever, ever tire from giving you another chance, another day, another choice, another way to see the power that lies within you. The divine does not tire of this. So you can say, I've made so many mistakes, and how am I ever going to do it now? That's the storyline I'm hearing from somebody. Or it's never worked out and I've been trusting the divine the whole time. Whoever that last message is for, the issue is not with you trusting the divine. It's with you trusting in yourself to carry out or receive what the divine is giving you. Side note, that's a side note message for somebody on here. You'll know if that's yours. The issue is not with the divine. It's not with believing in the divine. The issue is with you believing in yourself, because you've forgotten that you are the divine incarnate walking on the earth plane. So it's not about your belief in the divine. It's the belief in yourself. So for some of us, that's the shadow we're actually looking at. For some of us, the shadow is how we operate in our dynamics of relationships. For us, some of us, it's the shadow of how we operate in our businesses, how we operate with our bosses and our coworkers and our peers, how we operate in any dynamic, in any way, because this is the earth plane and we learn and grow through each other. That's why we can mirror for each other as a purpose of growing, not for projecting hate and bouncing it back and forth. The purpose is to illuminate, to see. So if we go back to that first card, I've got, again, these 2 people, those who are positioned in growth, those who are willing to say, yeah, that happened, and then be accountable and do something with it, because that's where your power is. You're the ones who are looking in the mirror saying, there's a piece of me that I don't like. What's the gem? And love myself there. Then you have the other people who are looking in the mirrors and using that mirror to project their darkness onto others. Do not accept somebody else's darkness, is what I'm hearing. Do not accept their darkness. Illuminate it for what it is. You're doing yourself a favor and you're doing them a favor. Do not sacrifice your light because somebody else is trying to dim it because of their own projections of their wounds. Allow them to see their own projections, and don't be accountable for other people's projections. This is very clear for somebody on here. I feel like this is somebody who's a giver, somebody who is constantly, I feel like you've been cleaning up the shit for other people for a long time. Ooh, okay, one more card, 5th card. So you'll notice I'm being told to look at this in the dimensions. First dimension is the experience. That's the darkness card, where she's looking in the mirror and sees all the black snakes and the shadow and the 3 eyes. That's the first dimension, the experience. Then we have the second dimension, which is the second card, which is the expression. That's the Queen of the Dead. Fear not the rage of fire living within, for it is the power of your fierceness waiting to taste you fully. That's the expression, second dimension. Let's go to the third card, which is third dimension of integration and understanding. That's the coming of the darkness when everything is withering and dying at the core. Are you ready to be rebirthed? That's the integration and understanding of that experience of darkness. Third dimension. Let's go to fourth dimension, which is the dimension of transcendence, which is transcending that experience. And what's that card? Gather in power, come together in grace, for unity is rising and all will be embraced. It's transcending the original experience, the expression of it, the darkness of it, all those things. What's the fifth card out? Fifth dimension, baby. I always see the fifth dimension as my I am pillar of presence within me. Whenever we transcend an experience, we move to the next level. This card, the last card, the fifth card, is the Reaper. So there's a lot of negative connotations with the concept of the Reaper. However, I kind of look at it as, it's interesting on this card, she's got the scythe, which cuts away the dead things, allowing for new growth and new rebirth. There's a light on the staff of it, and there's a star on the end of the scythe, on the blade. And it says, for the birth of something new to manifest, the death of something holding you back is inevitable. And what did the first four cards say? Darkness falls, Queen of the Dead, the coming of darkness, and the gathering in power and unity and grace, for all will be embraced. And that is the death of whatever has been holding you back and birthing something new. And really in the fifth I am pillar presence, which is also fifth dimensional consciousness, you could look at it like that. There really is this feeling of the birth of something new is actually a wholer version of you. It's not new at all. It's being remembered, but it feels new. It'll feel like fresh skin because you've been in the loops and the patterns of that darkness, of that experience for so long. Well, now I understand why Spirit wanted me to pull cards with this message. So I'm going to put out the other message as well. There's definitely some interweaving in it, but I feel like this just really hits it home. Let me know if you needed to hear this message, if it resonates for the struggle that you're going through right now or something that you're experiencing. And I'm just finding a card underneath my laptop that's been hidden there, peeking out. And it's called Queen of the Moon, Sovereignty. Well, isn't that whole story sovereignty? Everything we just walked through, every card leads to sovereignty. Your sovereignty. Well then, you can't make this up, friends. That is a powerful spread. Let me know in the comments if this resonated for you, if it helped you, if this somebody's guide is like, this is exactly what they needed to hear. So I'm just going to trust that. So I will leave that with you. Please like, share, and subscribe. As always, I'm sending you all much love, light, peace, healing, transcendence, and personal empowerment is what I wish for you, and sovereignty. Until next time, beautiful souls.